hey, guess what? It's 8:30. So if I may, before we get started on the actual business, I wanted to publicly on and in the meeting in a matter of minutes, I wanted to thank all of our election workers, girls in the auditor's office, the law enforcement, city of Fairfield, our road crew, everybody that was involved in making this election go smoothly. And Brett Farrell and the fire department providing the radios. So it was clearly a team effort. Even Abby stepped up. So.
You should have started with that.
Oh, you think?
I want to see this,
Okay.
please.
So anyway, just thanks to everybody because
Thanks.
clearly our elections are phenomenal here as far as how they run, and the election workers think the world of our staff. So anyway, I just wanted to, there were a lot of people involved and I appreciate it. So I call this meeting the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors to order for Monday, November 10th, and I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of
October 27th, 29th, November 3rd and 5th.
So
Okay.
moved.
We have a motion and do we have a second? Oh,
Do we have a second?
do we have a second?
I thought I made the motion.
No, you just.
I filled in the dates. Okay,
Yeah, he
second.
moved.
Okay,
Yeah, I didn't know it was a motion, Susie. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
we're on a roll already, folks.
It's not.
Monday morning.
All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's Dave. Hey, Dave. What's up?
Oh, well, you know, we're supposed to, I think the contractor's gonna stage his stuff down, do that doorway at the south entry today. And the plan is to do all the clear out tomorrow and then try and put as much of it back in place as possible with the new stuff. Hopefully he can get enough of the pre-work done today, so that all he's doing is just having to cut a few bolts and drop it base out of there tomorrow morning, which will give him more time on the job. You want to talk about the other thing right now too?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, why don't we?
So we've got I guess at one point in time, these were some posts were located just outside the door, north door to the right. And there's one there where, well, they had concrete in them. And I don't know what's happened, but it just looks like a cook stove top cover. It's just sitting there. And what I was wondering was whether or not, it might be too cold, but maybe it'll warm up enough. Whether or not we could come in and you guys got that other thing and blow water out of it and then put some of that, I don't know if it's cold patch or whatever. Always looks like limey chips of seal coat to me, but in that hole out there. If you go, when you go out the door, if you look to your right, you can see it. Looks like a concrete flying top. You can pick up it. Cause it's just sitting in there. And Kelly said something, she was afraid somebody was gonna trip over, it, so I went out and looked, tripped over it, so. I didn't, but
And then we've got the area
yeah,
further on the driveway where the asphalt coming apart, if it'd be possible to spray that stuff over the top and bind that together for the winter.
you just have to look at it and see what you think. It's right out here.
Chances are that asphalt that's out there is probably not much more than 3 inches thick, so we've lost a top inch and a half on it. And, you know, there's a little freeze-thaw cycle that's where we're gonna end up with a muddy there, more likely.
Oh, you can look.
Further down in the agenda is to discuss and consider invoice for prepayment materials for south door of the courthouse. I guess if we wanted to jump down there real quick, we can talk about that. If everybody okay with that? So number 9 in your packet.
So the young boy over there.
Number 8, my packet.
Oh, okay. That's close.
Horseshoes
That's
all
one way.
close counts in.
I stopped too soon or I didn't go far enough, depends on your perspective. Okay, so what's being asked here is I did get an email from somebody at Stable for this month.
Yes, it is.
Okay. They would like half of it up front, if I'm reading it right. So, but, starting the project this next week, but if I get you a materials invoice today, how quickly can you turn it around for materials? So I'm not sure, Dave, is this the entire amount or is this just for the materials?
What is the amount?
15,000.
It's for material.
So we want to have a conversation whether or not we want to. I guess my question is, how can he start if he doesn't already have the materials?
He's got all the material. He's been going at it for starting lately. Chances are he probably needs to cover some bases and he doesn't want to be out another week. But what you can do is you can go ahead and make out the check, give it to me. He'll be here tomorrow morning. And, as soon as he gets going on the tear out, then he's 100% in on this thing. And the majority of the materials will be installed the same day, so if it looks like it's going the way it should, you can trust me that I'll give him the check, and if not, then, I'll hold it up. I can't think of any other way to do it. I don't want to spook the contractor right now. I don't want to tell him today that, no, you can't have a check yet, and he's been telling me flat out, well, I have to be 100% before I get a check on this thing, which is just, he did a great job on the north door. He did what he said he was going to do, when he said he was going to do it. He's a professional. It's not like we're dealing with a small contractor here that doesn't do this shit for a living. We got the same request from Charles Voorhees regarding the porch over there. We trusted that contractor. We gave him what he asked for. I trust this contractor.
So the amount would be for $15,000. What do you think?
Well, I do think two things. I do trust Dave with this. I just, in the back of my mind, I just think about the one guy that owes us a lot of money. We haven't even dealt with him yet, and we need to do that.
Well, we've talked about this south door for a long time and we've got a plan to do it this week.
Yeah.
And so I personally think we need to move ahead on things, get it done.
Is that,
We might not get another opportunity
Yeah.
to get it done.
Yeah, it's
Check the
supposed to
weather
be
this
warm
morning.
this-
The weather next week is gonna be worse than it is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
week, and it looks like we're gonna work ourselves. Yes, we may not wanna tear the whole thing apart today because it's gonna be cold tonight, but there isn't any reason why the offices can't be buttoned up. Why the offices themselves can't use their mini splits for any heat that you may need over and above what the heat loss is. The only place we're really gonna get heat loss is gonna be in the core. So as far as the heating, that works out. We've also, we've been planning this with the clerk of court. They're expecting this thing to be done too. They understand how we're playing this whole thing. So there's a lot of moving parts here and they've all been taken care of up to this point.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
to give Dave the check to hold?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The minute he shows up here tomorrow morning, he's gonna be putting all the materials on site. And he's also showing that he's committed to doing the work.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
There is one more thing that we're gonna do tomorrow.
I know it's a bad thing, right?
Since the building itself isn't gonna be occupied tomorrow, we're gonna shut the water off in the building, and we're gonna correct that sewer problem that we've got downstairs, where we get a blockage once a year, where we have to bring in a contractor to take care of it. I talked to Rod, I asked him how much he thought it would be, and he seemed to think that it'd be about $350 to $400, which I think I explained it before, where we've got a dead spot in it where we've got 490. So the pipe comes in 90 up, 90 over, 90 back down, and 90 going out. And what's happening, I think it's stuff in the ladies' room is being up down the toilet, it shouldn't be, that's collecting in this thing. And yeah, we can ask them not to do it, but that doesn't mean it's gonna happen. So we're gonna have this problem every single year if we don't take care of it. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna come in, remove that middle part where the 90s are, it's gonna put 45. That will allow that water to flow off to the road a little bit better. But it's the only time we can do it because we have to shut the river down and boat.
Okay.
So that's gonna happen. I haven't looked at the porch across the street 100% yet to see where he's at with that. I believe he's almost 100% with the exception of there's a ramp over there that still has some of the old carpet that keeps it on it. And that has been problematic trying to get it up.
Anything else for Dave?
I've been getting some comments about the clock on the courthouse. Anything?
My wife is coming here tomorrow morning and she's gonna drive around and I'm gonna be up there and I'm gonna set 3 clock faces within a minute of where they need to be.
Well, it's the one that's not working I've heard more about.
Well, that's because every night on the news, they show it.
Oh, is that it?
And, you know, we still have the same thing going on with that. The only way to get up there is to rent a 90-foot lift, and it's gonna cost us. Basically, it's gonna cost us $2,500 to put it on site and remove it. And then we have to get the gear portion of it fixed. And then it's gonna cost us another $2,500 to have it come back out once that assembly's been corrected. And put it back together, so we're looking at a minimum of $5,000 in equipment rental to get that.
I thought at one time you talked about being able to do it from the inside. Did that not pan out?
I started looking into it, in fact, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, was with the road.
Oh, me?
Dwayne.
Dwayne.
What was the name of the gentleman that you said that, the welder?
Intolerance
Intolerant, okay, and that was in Cedar
in
Rapids.
Cedar Rapids. Yeah. Yeah, they do. As far as they used to do custom fabrication for stuff like, out of the normal
Yeah,
gears and sprockets and that kind of thing.
yeah, I haven't had a chance to run that down, but I will run it down. The idea there is that we have somebody that understands this stuff and can come out, take temper out of the gear. Replace the tooth with some more brass and then retemper the whole thing. We believe it's possible to do it, but I haven't really talked to anybody about doing it. That's the only other option besides taking it from the outside.
Just when you get the call, just tell people one side is mountain time, one side is eastern time, one side is central time. So they're not going to match.
So next time they call and say, well, it was right twice yesterday.
That's right.
Well, that's what I told one person. It was right twice every 24
Just
hours.
set it at 5 o'clock because it's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Dave.
you know, if you want, let me run this down, see what I can do with it. I'll try and come up with an answer this week.
Well, I've heard the comment 3 different times
Yeah.
lately, so.
It was for Mary Ann, but it's okay.
I've still been talking with Rod with Livewire about generator. I still don't have anything conclusive on that yet, so. If he's unable to come up with something, then it may be necessary. It may be necessary to get an engineer involved.
His name's Dwayne.
I'm an electrical engineer.
You plug your lamp.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
For being a senior, you know, I don't see as well as I used to, and I can't hear worth a damn.
Yeah.
And I can't seem to remember a single thing that I've forgotten.
I haven't.
Well, then you shouldn't need to worry about it.
Well, I didn't until it came up.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, no, there's actually a country song out there. I forgot to remember what I forgot. Okay.
Thank you, Dwayne. Or Dave.
Well, you're welcome, Joe.
Now you tell him thank you.
Okay, Dave. We're going downhill pretty quick here. Dave, anything for you?
Did you get that clock set to 5 yet? Good morning, supervisors. Been a couple weeks since we've met. Let's see, we did some grade work out, grading and ditching on Walton Road, 205th, 200. Here 2 weeks ago. Got the rock back on it, and we used a modified granular subbase, which is a larger stone, due to the large amount of dust and fines in the existing road bed. So as soon as we get some moisture and rain, these larger stones will work into the finer subgrade and help provide a decent road for the winter. Right now, it's like driving on marbles, but that will end with Mother Nature's help. Last week and this week, we had a crew out ditching on 250th there east of Juniper by the Porter's hog operation. There's an area of the road there that the ditch has always been extremely wet, and it's been silted in, so the road would get awful spongy in the spring or anytime it rains. So we're digging the ditch out deeper and improving the drainage so that water in the subgrade can get out of there and drain the way it's supposed to. Checked it Friday. They're progressing well. The water's doing what we hoped it would. It's got a nice stream flow in the ditch now as that water drains out of that bank. And they'll be working on that pretty much all week. With the holiday tomorrow, most of the crew took today off on extended vacation. So I think we got 4 guys out on the road crew today, so we're pretty short-handed, but
They'll make up for it when it snows.
yeah, it works. It'll work out all right for what they're doing on 205th there, 250th there. Let's see, what else have we got? We've got, I think I've told you, we've got quite a few pipe that we've been working on, fixing driveway entrances and crossroad pipe. We're down from a high of 200 pipe in our work order list down to 130. We've tackled quite a few pipes this year. We're actually over budget, so when it comes time for a budget, they ask you guys to let us move some money around to cover the fact that we've done more pipe work than we planned on. But it's one of those things when they need done, they need done. Other than that, Thomas and I are just doing paperwork, trying to get stuff finished up, and Thomas is closing out the bridge project, and our chip seal and patch project is complete as well now. So he's going to spend all winter going through the audit paperwork for those 2 projects, keeping the DOT happy so those get closed out. And See, we've got our grass tree bridge is submitted for bid in January, as well as the Libertyville Road project that got final approval through the DOT week before last on Friday. They both got blessed and transferred over to contracts, so they're ready for letting. And I'm getting started on next fiscal year's road projects. And pretty quick, we'll be working on budget, so.
Yeah, won't be long. Anything else for Dwayne?
Yes, I got a phone call about a hole in the pavement out by the grocery store north of, around from Four Corners. Jason Steele called, said there was a pothole out there in the pavement. Has he talked to you?
No,
Is that bad?
that's in the stretch that's south of Fort.
South,
Yeah,
no,
that's- no,
no, it's, no,
no.
it's where it turns to Germanville Road to go south there, the way I understood it, by the Amish grocery store. I haven't seen it.
That's bad, isn't it?
I think so. I'll swing out there after the meeting, take a
Yeah,
look.
we resurfaced that not too many
Yeah.
years ago.
I haven't been out and looked at it.
There's the Amish grocery store is south of Fort Corners, right? Right. Isn't it?
No, it's north. Four Corners.
Okay,
you go
yeah,
around
it is
the curve.
north.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
Somewhere
it's
out
north
around
of
that.
195th. So that isn't in the
So,
resurface part.
Okay.
That's new.
have you been down at Susie?
Yeah, yesterday, and Jason was over at the farm on Saturday. He didn't say a word. So
Maybe he just wants us out there to do something else.
who knows? But I'm sure something's
Yeah.
there. He would.
Well, he made a comment on it, has some coal patch in it or something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that stretch of roads has almost every joint for certain stretches are in pretty bad shape. We've been out there.
I turned back to the west, so I.
We've been out there
I'll
off
bet you
and
it's on the
on
hill.
all summer.
Horses are spinning and they dug a hole there. That
The
pavement
buggy, you mean?
with the buggies. There's no Amish on it, so.
Don't worry, we got recorded. We'll play it later. Fun.
You know, we do put cleats on their horseshoes.
Yeah.
Anything else for Dwayne? Moving on, discuss and consider board approval for service transportation block grants. Funding agreement or. I'm assuming this is for Libertyville Road.
That's Libertyville Road, the STBG, that's to make up for the shortfall in the earmark grant. We're using STBG funds to help fill the budget on that project. I think $1.4 million. If I remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Um,
And that's what, 4.9 million?
Yes,
Roughly.
we'll be somewhere in that ballpark. And so we've got 2 million of earmark grant, 500,000 of the traffic safety improvement projects grants from the state, 1 million of STBG, and then anything above that amount will be made up out of the farm to market fund. So right now we're anticipating that's 400,000.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You need one.
I just need one. I think Christie has to sign that also, maybe.
Joe, can I have your copy?
Yep, sure.
Okay, discuss and consider approval of funding agreement for Grass Tree Avenue Bridge replacement.
And this one is all what they call bridge money. So every year we are allotted a certain amount of the road use tax fund for strictly bridge use. And on our, what they call the non-system bridges, the bridges that are not on farm to market roads, just the local service roads, we get 100% funding for those. So again, this is. The downside is because it's federal money, not state. It's a pass through from the state. We have to follow the federal guidelines as far as slopes and site distances and that kind of thing. So these projects, even though there's no impact on our road budget, they are more expensive because of the fact that you usually need to flatten the slopes and purchase some additional right of way, and there's more earthwork involved with them because you're bringing in extra material to make those slopes flatter.
What do we need? We don't need any additional right of way.
We bought right away.
It's already done.
Yeah, it's already done. They were both fairly small parcels, less than a quarter acre. So I think a couple $1,000 each person. They weren't very big. The biggest thing is they both, because of the way that bridge lies, neither one of them have access to the south end of their properties because it's on the other side of the bridge, and they didn't have driveways before. So as part of the project, we're providing driveways for them, and that's more of the actual negotiations for the easement than the reimbursement of the property. But it's also something that, technically you're not supposed to landlock a parcel, so.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
aye. When will they want to start this? When are you gonna bid let this?
Bid letting for both those projects are January 21st.
Okay,
So ideally, they'll get started on the bridge project in March. There is some minor clearing and grubbing, and they cannot do that after March 31st. So we are offering what they call free winter work. So anything they do in March, we wouldn't be counting working days to encourage them to do it this year. And then if they let it wait until next winter, we won't offer free winter work. So their March work would be under working days.
Anything else on it? Josh?
All right, good morning.
thanks,
So
Wayne.
numbers for October, we had 156 calls. 28 of those were transfers from JCHC. Collections for October, $60,714.48. So low end of normal, but still decent. Staffing, I know I talked about this in the last meeting, effective November 30th, we will be fully staffed. 2 medics and 2 basics per crew. We are implementing a team leader training program with assigned team leaders or captains. Currently, we have 4 that have been nominated and selected. They're going through some online classes and review of protocols and review of policy manuals, and should be up to speed come that November 30th change. So with that, I think there's an agenda item today to bring Cody Pearson on full time as well. So that's part of those changes. That's really kind of huge for us for staffing. We've been hit and miss for quite a while, so get everybody kind of repositioned and moved into a schedule that they all are okay with, and it works for everybody, so that's good. I think there's going to be discussion about radios too, for using opioid funds to help support purchase of radios. I think Elizabeth has some information on that as well.
Mm.
And then as far as the training program, still no updates. I'll be at a conference later this week and I hope to run into the training coordinator at the state. So we can get some more information on that, but
Do you think they just forgot about us?
I don't know.
Okay.
I hate to speculate, but. So hopefully I'll know more. Last thing she said was maybe January, but I'm kind of losing hope. So we'll see what happens.
When are we due for another base inspection?
Oh, not until August 27, I think. Yeah. So it's gonna be a minute.
Anything for Josh? Since Dwayne's not here, you got to talk to him.
Oh,
Just say it.
Yeah, so as far as I guess I don't know what we want to discuss first.
So the 18th, when you make the agenda out for next week, we will be meeting at 8 a.m., right? 8 a.m. on the 18th,
19th.
19th.
19.
Yeah, that's, when is that? A
Wednesday.
Wednesday. With JCHC at their boardroom or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
She's way ahead of you.
Am I efficient or what?
We
Don't go there.
Don't ask the questions.
Really?
She doesn't need your help. Okay,
just to make you aware, my wife is scheduled for some surgery on the 18th. Or the 19th, we have no idea what time yet.
Mhm.
So I might not be there.
I just tell her put it off till you got done.
Joe, don't make eye contact with her. Surely not.
I told my wife.
Well, you know what I do. Marianne, Joe said you can't do it till afterwards.
She's already aware of it and she's lucky enough to get it this quick.
Is she doing it out here?
No, she's gonna do it in Iowa City.
Good.
I don't even know who's doing it here.
No clue.
I don't know.
She was just diagnosed last Monday or Tuesday and she's gonna get it done.
I think it's good she's getting it done.
That quick, yeah.
Hmm.
One eye at a time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, number 4, discuss and consider paving concrete driveway at ambulance base. Oh, Dwayne's left. He's probably out. Would you go look and see? He might be out looking at the. Oh, yeah, let's see. Cause I knew that. It gets brand new. So, reached out to the attorney's office. I sent a copy of, an easement agreement that Washington State Bank had with First National Bank. I don't know if you remember or not, but somehow or another, when First National Bank built, they actually built over on the other parcel. I don't believe Washington State Bank was there at the time, but they built over on the other parcel. So when the new bank came in and built, is what it is. So they entered into an agreement, an easement whereby First National Bank was responsible for maintenance and upkeep of that drive or that area. And it is, and it says in the agreement, I believe it's in your packet, but it says in the agreement that it's in an email that I sent. That,
Good morning, Dwayne.
Well, I almost escaped.
yeah, you did. You almost did. But anyway, so that it includes its successors. And according to our attorney, we qualify as a successor. So we have a legal obligation. Okay.
Like a covenant that runs with the land. and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, so you guys.
Which, just so the board's aware, and if I didn't let you guys know this previously, I apologize, but I did get an email from Mr. Grant at Washington State Bank. They wanted $26,500 to sell that little piece. And I figured we can get it fixed for a lot less than that and accomplish and not pay taxes on it. So, I mean, it's kind of
Does
Anyway.
Mr. Griner know about this?
I sent him an email twice. Informing him, in fact, this is the email. I said, I've asked our attorney to review the easement agreement that was originally developed between Washington State Bank and First National Bank, which I've attached to this email. In that agreement, it states in paragraphs 4 and 5 that First National Bank shall be liable for maintaining the roadway and the curb in the easement area, and that the easement and covenant shall run with the land and are for the benefit of the owners and their successors. And then I put paragraphs 4 and 5 in the email. Since we are a quote successor, we are obligated by the easement to repair and maintain that area described in the easement. So the county will move forward with repair and maintenance of that driveway area within the easement. However, given the time of year, I said it likely will not happen until spring. I will discuss the time frame with our engineer. And then I followed up on that email subsequently. So, and have heard absolutely nothing. So now I'm following up with you. About whether or not it's a project that can be done, or if it's too late in the year and has to wait till spring.
Depends what needs to be done.
Well, I would ask,
I'll go look, I'll go give it an eyeball.
yeah. There's quite a bit of, if I'm looking at it as a layman, there's a lot of concrete that has to be knocked out. That's would be my take.
Yeah, it's getting to be the time of year that, spot patching, that kind of thing you can probably do yet fairly safely, as long as
Supposed to be up in the 70s by the end of the week.
what's your overnight lows. Yeah, that's,
Chloride in it.
yeah, but you still need to insulate it. And you still have to have, you have to have the heat for hydration. So yes, you could probably get it done this year, but it would be more expensive than waiting till April or May.
I don't think the overnight loads are gonna be that good.
The big thing is, you're at the end of the construction season, right? And you pay emergency pricing for emergency jobs. If it's not a safety hazard, I would recommend that we put a plan together and wait till spring. But
I would ask,
look for
yeah,
getting quotes on it about February, so it's something that the contractors are starting to get a little hungry because they haven't worked, and they're looking for things to fill their bucket early in the year. And patchwork and rehab work is the kind of stuff you can do when the weather is spotting in the spring.
I don't know if it's,
Right.
for example, I don't know if it's too big a job for like a Jefferson or not. I mean, it's not really a whole lot bigger than what he did at Farm Bureau office, but
I wouldn't think it would be.
If all it's gonna need is, if we can get by with doing spot repairs, pretty much any contractor can do it. If you've got to tear out and redo the whole thing,
yeah.
but you've also got to you need access through that.
Well, yeah,
So you're gonna have to figure out a staging plan. And so it's gonna end up being numerous small projects.
yeah,
As opposed to one big one, because you're not gonna want them to shut you down for a week.
right. The things,
Oh, he's looking for that. So what I was asking the board was, and if we end up having to wait till spring, you can put it in next year's
out of the ground like that.
budget. But I'm asking the board's permission
He just tore up and.
to move forward on that project. And yeah, go ahead.
I just had a question. Can you put in your bid or whatever you're putting out for quotes, requirement to have concrete blanket over it if you're worried about?
We'll require DOT specification on that, and that covers that. But that all runs up the cost, and
Yeah,
as I said, if it's not a safety hazard, it'll be much more favorable to wait until spring.
I'd rather wait until spring and just get it done right. I mean, we can avoid trying to mitigate the hazards.
But I do believe that, and I say that we can budget for it in the upcoming budget sessions, but I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we do have a legal obligation to move forward, right?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, that's a requirement. I didn't review it, but I'm guessing if it requires maintenance, then yes,
And yeah, it said, of course, this speaks to First National Bank, but it says
Well,
Shall-
it doesn't matter. You
Right.
guys are the successors.
shall be liable for maintaining the roadway and curb in this easement area in good repair and indemnifies Washington State Bank from any liability resulting from the use of the easement by First National Bank, its licensees and invitees. Which it was being used as an exit for them, or we're using it as an entrance. But I wanted you all to be apprised of what.
Is there holes there now or is it just broke up?
It's busted up and there's a huge chunk, probably this big, that sticks up out of the ground.
Does
But, I
anyone
mean-
else? Oh, excuse me.
Well, it's avoidable. I mean, we just kind of hang close to the turn as we're going into the garage. We can avoid it, but at some point it's gonna be,
Can you put cones on the part that sticks up?
well, we'll probably have to, yeah, we'll mark it some way, especially, when the snow starts to fall.
Yeah,
That'll be the biggest concern. And then if
Wayne
they
could
come in and
put a
grade it.
cement breaker out there, it could be broke up this afternoon.
Do we need to do bids for this?
Well, that's what you talked about,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be, well. You should.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be. Of course, it's not in the road department, so it's kind of up to you guys how you handle it probably. But you're. Without looking at it, I'm just gonna stop. But my guess is you want to put it out for quote. But there, see what we can come up with.
So, I would, ask for a motion to move forward on paving of that concrete driveway.
So
Under the direction of the engineer.
that's what he's got an engineering degree for. This is cement now, not electrical.
Yeah, it's also not a road. It's kind
It
of,
was before they blocked off the other
it's
end.
not a county road.
Well, you're right. Which was the discussion we
I
had.
will
was-
provide my best judgment of what we should do.
So we weren't sure whether we could put county money into private property. That's why I had asked about the easement.
Yeah, so you're required by the easement.
Yeah. So, did we get a motion
Yes.
in a second? Second? Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discuss and consider using opioid funds for ambulance radios.
Right, so as we discussed previously, I think that you can do it. I think that the only thing that kind of limits your ability to do so would be the state of Iowa's requirements that we spend 75% of the opioid funds on directly like prevention and remediation of opioid use disorders. So I guess to that end, I had some conversations with Josh about maybe trying to figure out statistically like the number of calls that they receive that are related to opioid use disorders or overdoses. That didn't really yield a lot, but you still can use the up to 25% of the opioid funds on anything that is, tied to opioid use disorders. But I would say the ambulance radios certainly are. It's just not directly related to those Exhibit A. And I think I provided that to you guys, maybe the last time we discussed it, or it's been provided in the past. There are specific remediation strategies that are preferred over others. And so that's the 75% of the fund to be spent on those. But up to 25% can be spent on things that are not directly related to those prevention strategies. So right now, I believe we have 200 and something $1,000. And so certainly, up to 25% of that, you guys could dispense to the ambulance for radios.
Josh, how much is this gonna cost?
Well, I talked to Brett Farrell Friday.
Mhm.
The 911 board approved the purchase of 6. It's 42,000. He's asking for 21.
I think that's fair.
I'm on.
Oh, hey,
So the total bill came back to $39,709.26 for 6 handheld all band radios. And we're just, I mean, I threw out that number, we're asking for some of that to be recouped, but that's already been approved. We're going to pay the invoice today, so it'd be a reimbursement towards 911 board if you decide to spend any money on it.
I'd ask for 20,000. If that's,
I make a motion that we take 20,000 from the opioid funds and reimburse the 911 folks for what their purchase was.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? How do we do that? Do we just transfer it from? I don't know.
You're sitting in the room with the auditor in there. I don't.
Well, I looked at
There she would
direction.
go.
Yeah, I looked at direction, but I.
So we could do it. We could do it two way. I don't know who holds the key to the opioid money, if that's the auditor's office or what. I mean, we can invoice and code the invoice. It's 39,709. Like I said, I could code it for 19,709 from 911 service board, and you could code the other half, however you want to do that. Or the 911 board can pay, and you can just reimburse a check to the Jefferson County 911 board.
Abby said that would be the easiest to code
Which
it.
way?
What you said.
Which one?
to code the $20,000 to the opioid funds and then the rest of it to the 911.
Okay. So I will get that bill printed and I'll code my portion of it, and then I'll bring it up to Abby.
Okay,
So we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Susie.
miss this stuff.
It was Joe.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
What'd you do?
Is it safe for me to leave now?
He's the worst.
No.
Don't want you to sprain an ankle running out.
No, I. Discuss and consider hiring Cody Pearson as EMT full-time, Jefferson County Ambulance at a rate of $18 per hour. Effective start date November 30th.
So moved, and we were very lucky to have that young man.
Second,
He's a rock star.
any further discussion or any discussion?
I'll tell you a story.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, discuss and consider a resolution,
In my-
where to go? Jefferson County Sheriff's Office to hire correctional officer Dylan Jacob Smith.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Oh, okay, go for a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Huh? Thank you.
She moved, he seconds. I ayed. And I signed the paper. Which I'm holding in my hand. So that was number 6. Number 7, discuss and consider CEO shared liability agreement for a new Eastern Iowa Workforce Development Board. Suzie, I was gonna let you, I figure see you're on that board, you have a better handle on what's going on than I do. My pen is running.
I think all the counties involved with the new merger are on board. So this is really just a formality.
I had a question and when I saw it, and I have to confess my ignorance because I'm not sure of how it's set up. I understand it's 2080, but the concern I had was for future appropriations that would be beyond the time of this board being in office. And I talked to Chauncey this morning. He had not read the document, said that it was, he thought maybe it might be good for us to look at it.
Yeah, basically what it is, those areas like we were a different part, now we are going in conjunction with the Eastern Iowa. It means when the state doles out the money for this, it goes to us. If, or us or this new region,
Mhm.
if we wouldn't have done that, the money would have went to the state and we would have gotten money. I just wanted to plug that there. So I,
What I hear you saying is we're not appropriating any funds, they're providing funds.
correct.
And it may be just the title of it now is how it's done.
Yeah, and you know, Ed, when we were down here, like 14 counties, and then we got some more counties
Yeah, it's
combined
funny
with this.
now.
And I think the more counties you get involved, the murkier it might be,
Yeah,
you know, but it's what I used to do,
okay.
you know, help with those funds for folks to go to school and stuff like that. And at least the state's not getting part of this money now.
Explain more in detail what this is actually.
The federal government gives money to different folks. It used to be years ago, balance of state, which means most of the state. Then it went to the different regions, like we were region 15 here, that contiguous with the counties that comprised Indian Hills. The region we molded with, according to this, is the Eastern Iowa things, all the way from Fort Madison up the River Valley. There is a workforce center in Waterloo that no longer does this. They just let the state have their money again. My niece is involved with that. So it's really the basis of what this program does is to help people get retrained,
Okay.
help low-income folks, help at-risk students. You know, there are different parts of this, whether it's a dislocated worker, at-risk youth, offender programs, it's all combined in the different regions. Will decide how much money each of those pots get. And then there are people that go out in the areas and administer those positions. If I could sit and name a whole lot of people from this town that I've helped that actually work for county government now. It's a good program. It's a real good program. So I have gray hair.
Our only thought was it's a lengthy document. We haven't passed on it, but if you want to go ahead without us passing on it, mea culpa. We haven't looked.
In other words, Ed wants time to look at it before we vote on it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think that's very
like a
wise.
week,
That's very wise.
just to
Yeah,
pass on it.
yeah,
And they do great work. I don't question that at all.
I know,
So
I
that's
know
super.
but still, you should always,
So I would like, when you look at it or when somebody looks at it, to define for me what chief elected official shared liability is.
That's my concern. And in future, I think there's some concerns about future liability and limits, right of counties to withdraw from it.
right. And basically, I think that's their lead because there have been instances in the past where there have been bad things that people didn't appropriate the money correctly. It's one of the reasons Des Moines doesn't have it anymore.
So do you know, Susie, does this money come to the county individually or does it come to
No.
a central location in the region?
It will go to,
Just-
before, with Indian Hills, it went to Indian Hills. They were our administrative entity.
Okay,
And they gave it to folks like me to hand out and work with folks in my county or my parts of the counties. So,
Can I ask a question? How do we do our other 28E funding requirements? And I'm not sure how many we have, but I think our law enforcement center I know traditionally was, and I don't know
yeah,
how that was administered.
yeah.
I'm coming back from getting back from vacation
Yeah,
today, so
yeah.
I gotta reprogram my brain.
You know,
I'm sorry.
Ed, that's a good question. And my biggest thing is the misappropriation of funds
Any
that
point?
has been done in maybe several other places, you know,
Okay.
or maybe money wasn't spent properly or it shouldn't have been spent that way. So yeah, it just protects us.
yeah, no, I'm fine with that. That shared liability thing kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it looked like we were on the hook for 2% of whatever's done in the future. Is
yeah.
what I was seeing, but again, I haven't
I know.
spent enough time to have any intelligent opinion, but
Well, neither do
The
I.
board has authority to do whatever the
Well,
board
we've never
wants.
provide, correct me if I'm wrong, we've never provided funds to workforce development, have we?
No, but it's never been set up that way before. You know, we were our own little island out here until we decided to go in with this Eastern Iowa region.
Right.
And
This is a new group getting together.
it's just two groups getting together, you know. And only because of the money, we were getting shortchanged with money, therefore we couldn't help as many people. So therefore a bigger region can help more people. We'll see how that really works.
Do you know who drafted this agreement? What law firm?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, I know if I'm understanding this correctly, we have a 2.5% liability based on population, which goes back to what Susie was just talking about, that if collective liability for misspent funds in the event expenditures are disallowed and CEOs are unsuccessful at obtaining repayment from the responsible entity, each county shall be responsible for a portion of such, any such liability. And then it breaks out that portion or proportion, and ours is 2.5%.
Every year we used to be audited every year by the federal government. And they would find audit items, audit exceptions, and then we would have to answer to that. I'm not sure it works that way anymore, but
Do you have any idea how much money they're appropriating? Of course, it would only be those portions that are misspent, but still.
right. I know that for the Indian Hills region before, we've had like $4 million, but I think it's down to close to almost less than half of that now. So it is advantageous for us to go with somebody else and maybe get more money to help. Like we have a plant closing here, that would really be good because it would be all the dislocated workers that we could work with. And so our new buddies in Eastern Iowa would have to give us some of that money because, you know, like the case plant's closing. They'll be all over that, you know.
So do we want them to table this until next week?
I wouldn't give Ed time to work his magic.
Yeah. Thanks.
Give Ed something to do this week.
So I've got an assessor deal on Thursday too. Yeah, so, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay.
You know,
We
she's,
just don't need to take any action on it.
No.
Right?
So set time and date for public hearing for property assignment agreement. Just real briefly, this is, we have acquired the ability to dispose of a property that was acquired through a tax sale process. And so we want to set a date and time for public hearing on the agreement. I think the soonest we could do it would be the 24th. Be the 24th.
I just wanted to mention, because I know this came up during our last discussion. I had an opportunity to speak with Mark. So if we get to this public hearing and it turns out there are several parties who are interested in that assignment, I think what we can do at that point is we can decide instead that we'll just get the deed and then we would get requests for bids, I guess. I think that would be the best way to go about it if we have multiple people interested in the assignment. It may be that we only have one party who's interested, and that would just be very simple, as I discussed last time. But if not, I mean, we can also just get the deed and then we can go through that process as well.
So we want to set it for 9 a.m. on the 24th. Susan?
sure, or 7, either one. 9 probably works.
Okay.
I'm sensing the tension.
I was processing at 7. It wasn't processing well, but who knows? So set public hearing on November 24th at 9 a.m. For the property assignment agreement. Okay, a motion,
So moved.
second,
Second, or did you say second? All right.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Okay, we've already done number 8. Discuss and consider invoice for security cameras. So, we had a discussion here, I don't know, several weeks ago with Matt. We were talking about replacing cameras and so on and so forth. And so, me, like, we're replacing, well, they've got NVR, I thought it was the DVR, but okay. 16 channels of inputs, 256 megabits of bandwidth, and all labor included for $23.92.86. So we don't have to replace any cameras or any other equipment, correct?
Also,
And it hasn't been done yet, am I correct? Has been done? Okay,
he was here and
okay. So I just needed approval to pay the invoice of $23.93.86.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
I,
All right, discuss and consider Bonneville Cabin Habitat Agreement. You have that in your packet. Have been in discussion with,
thank you, Jim.
Brittany from Conservation, excuse me. And, this basically is just the DNR manages this property. It is for wildlife and habitat. It can't be used for anything else. Brittany will oversee doing the paperwork that has to be, which is also in there. It states that it's an annual or a status report due on July 30th, 2026 through 2035. And they email this report along with a photo of the site. And basically what is, they're wanting to make sure that it's being managed and that they can deal with, I guess, without having to come down here. And anything else you'd like to share about the area project? We expect unexpected problems or issues arise in this area during the past year, that sort of thing. And so basically, they wanted to use my name as a contact point. I've been in discussions with her and conversations with Brittany to make sure that conservation is overseeing this and doing the reports. And she said that, yes, that would fall with her. So I'm asking for approval to sign this habitat and maintenance agreement.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
I,
You need a copy as well, or?
yes, please.
Okay.
need more than one.
Yeah, I'm gonna need, I'll just take that. Yeah, too.
Yeah, here. That's taken out.
So it wants to go out. Okay. Discuss and consider environmental health rent. We had talked before about $100 a month. And that was supposed to start November 1st, but obviously we dropped the ball on that. So I'm put it back on the agenda to see if we still were going to move forward with that. And we would invoice, forgive me, Jerry, I don't remember the name of your company, but yeah.
Leonard Enterprises,
Say that again.
Leonard Enterprises.
Okay. Yes, sir.
We had one question that we wanted to raise, and that was, there's no tax as far as intergovernmental funds if it's a rent to the Board of Health. And again, because we're just shuttling.
I understand
If
it
it goes-
doesn't solve the problem, and I talked with the assessor and he would not tax us.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about the assessor, but if we have income on our property, I was concerned, I guess the auditor does our income tax returns. But if you're renting to a separate party, I don't know if you'd have any federal income tax question.
Okay, well, that's fine, but if we don't rent to the party, then it defeats the purpose, which is to keep vipers off our back.
I understand that purpose, but
Yeah.
I mean, the public defender pays a tax or a rent. And that was through the county attorney's office that got started.
But again, that's not a private entity, I don't think. That was my concern. I just don't want to cause a problem.
Well, public defender's not a private entity.
I don't think so.
Who does he work for?
Public defender is the state,
Or she.
the office of the state public defender.
The state actually pays us something? Well, hallelujah.
They approve that, and the individuals that are hired pay taxes when they pay it out. But it's money going out, not coming in.
Well, irregardless,
It's your
I'm not.
your guys' call.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I personally, speaking for myself, I'm not interested in, if we had to pay it all in tax, I wouldn't care. My point is to keep hikers from sniffing around. Because that cost us about $27,000.
How long ago was that?
How long ago was that? Jerry Calhoun was here then. And Jerry Droz was sheriff. That puts it in,
12 years,
I'm sorry.
12 or 13 years.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
The length of your term also is the consideration, because if you make a contract with a private entity, that private entity then acquires the rights and is the party in possession and can hold it for the whole length of the term.
Well, the other side of that too is that because it is a private entity, the private entity has the option to locate its office elsewhere.
But you'd be obligated to continue renting it if you sign a lease. That's the only thing, if there's a change or something. I'm not trying to throw up any problems.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that if we, if any private entity didn't want to enter into an agreement,
Yeah.
say for a year, and you could spell out your agreement, write up your agreement that allows to the same exit time frame as does the contract, because currently the contract that's signed is I think it's 120-day out clause, if I'm not mistaken. So you could apply the same thing in that terms. All I'm saying is that there's no obligation on his part or anybody else's part to locate there. But now, and it's also, my understanding now that you've hired an additional body.
No, I think that's just volunteering.
Okay, yeah. But the question I have is, what does that do in terms of our liability?
Should there be, and not on the exact same thing, but should there be a change in the Board of Health hiring the present person? That present person still has the right to that property.
Jerry or his company carries an errors and omissions and liability insurance and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if what's what I'm looking for. I don't know if it,
but his corporation
Goes over into your-
remain there during the 2 years of the term, regardless of whether he worked for the Board of Health or not, so that's fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
The Board of Health, if there's a change in personnel at some time, and occasionally that happens, the rights of that corporation that signs the lease agreement will be able to use that property for 2 more years without any right of the county to do anything under the.
Where did the 2 years come up with?
Well, that was, and again, you can make the lease for any term you want.
Right.
But for whatever term of the lease, that you're giving up that right to the county property to a private company
And I would just make it month to month. I wouldn't even make it lease, because if he decided that he wanted to move somewhere else, they still have the contract with public
They have
health.
to give you both the right to terminate it at any time.
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
you know, I don't want to make it burdensome. I'm just wanting to protect
I understand.
the county.
So I have a question.
Sure,
So Jerry works through the Board of Health, correct?
he's contracted with them, yes.
Okay. So why, what hound do we have in this hunt?
It's our building,
Okay.
just like.
Because I know years ago, wasn't our public health our sanitarian over here in
Mhm.
public health?
Mhm.
Why did we move?
It's rather a long story that I'd be.
I'm ready to hear it.
Let's just say that they felt that it was in the interest of multiple parties to relocate. And the Board of Supervisors at the time agreed to do that, but that was a county employee, albeit through the Board of Health, but an employee
Mhm, mhm.
who was drawing IPers or paying into IPers, that sort of thing.
Okay.
The scenario was somewhat different.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the story, Lisa.
Oh, it is what it is. And then when Jerry Calnon was here, he was not environmental.
What was his title?
He was an emergency management coordinator, and he worked out of the sheriff's office. And an office was provided as well as equipment.
Mhm.
And IPers, that's not a contract employee, even though there was a contract. And so subsequently in that, county attorney's office filed an appeal with IPers. IPers said, "Yeah, sorry, we're sticking with what we originally said." We didn't move on to district court. We just left that sleeping dog lie. We paid IPers, like I said, 27,000. Jerry had to come up with some money himself as well. What would be an employee's share?
Mhm.
I went upstairs then to the assessor's office because we had an individual working out of our assessor's office that was a vendor as well, out of Washington County, that was doing assessments and stuff. John, I think was his name.
Mhm.
Keeler. Keeler. And I expressed to Sherry that he needed to be submitting an invoice on a claim, and that it should be filed as every other vendor's invoice are filed and paid those claims. And that we could make the argument in that instance with, and then make the same argument here with, in Jerry's instance, that he's using public health or county computers, same argument we made with IPers at the assessor, that information has to be stored and kept by us. And so that information is being provided. And they accepted that. So it wasn't the equipment that was the issue. And because John still continued to do assessments, all that information was placed into our computers. They get a little sideways if you're providing
Yeah,
other things too, but in this case, they were okay with, they accepted the premise that we had to retain that information. And it would be a similar scenario here.
it's always a difficult question. There's a lot of litigation in court because it makes a difference. A private person has to pay 15% employment tax. And the difference between an independent contractor and employee is if there's any direction and control over the person.
Now, I guess what I would ask, and I'm asking the board and asking Ed, it doesn't really need to be, I don't think, as difficult an issue as it's turned out to be, but if the county, since the Board of Health is an independent autonomous board, if the county was to build public health, the budget of environmental health, does that alleviate us? Or because they are an IPers entity, and I've contracted with him, does that make them liable for the IPers if they come sniffing?
They would be the one, I think, if they're the employer, that would be responsible
with that.
to deal
So
with it.
we're not gonna get that. That was my question, was that,
If we do the 30-day month to month, that solves one of the big questions I had as far as looking down the road.
and again, I'm not looking to make it punitive or anything, but I do think it has to be reasonable in the eyes of the people that come sniffing at your doorstep.
Yeah.
And it is a relatively small corner of the world. You would concur with that being a small corner of the world?
That's, I don't know what part of the world we're talking about way there, but small amount of the world, yes, let's put it that way. The only question I guess I'd have again is the 30-day thing. I mean, I think where Ed came up with the 2 years, because I had a little bit of discussion with Ed about it, is that that would be the end of my term of my contract. So in my mind, it would only make sense that both of them get renewed at the same time if we go forwards. The month-to-month thing is like today, we could be stepping into winter. Do I want to move in a month? No. Will I move in a month? If I had to, yeah. If you guys terminate, I'd have to. But I guess I see it as I'm not going anywhere. Whatever it takes to make this happen right, so we're all covered. So, again,
So then the only thing I would say, again, speaking for myself, because there's a 120-day out clause in the contract. If something was to happen that he had to move, that he had to go elsewhere, and I'm not saying anything nefarious or anything like that, just life circumstances.
Yeah.
He wouldn't want to have to continue to pay. We wouldn't want him to have to continue to pay. So if you linked it to the 120-day out clause that's currently in the contract. Now, that out clause can only be triggered by Jerry or by public health, not by us. So I don't know if you want to chew on this some more, that's fine. We're not under the gun by any stretch of the imagination. But I would like to get, at least by the first of the year, something when we're doing the new
I can get
budgets.
something redrafted for you, but you want to do it to the corporation rather than the Board of Health.
Yes,
Okay.
and then, if you want to, your judgment and the board, if you're wanting for it to run the length of the contract, I think that that's feasible, and again, speaking for myself, but I do think that it needs to be tied to that 120-day out clause. And the only reason I say that is because I do believe it's beneficial for you as well. You don't want to continue to pay rent on something for a year and a half.
The thing I was concerned with was because sometimes personnel things happen and you don't want someone that's a private entity occupying
Right.
public property if.
And conversely, if you moved uptown or if you wanted to move somewhere else, it gives you.
So both parties could have that
Yeah,
right
you
to
have some
terminate at will.
flexibility
Yeah.
there.
well, and couldn't we just really have it in the contract that if both parties mutually agree that we could then,
Well, it should be either party have the right to.
And I'm
Terminate.
fine with that too.
right, because again, for me, moving away from the office, I just have a lot of foot traffic. Again, I get so many calls and, well, can you give me this information? What is this? So wherever I go, the files will have to go. So that's really making me say, I don't really want to go anywhere because it's just too handy and I don't want to be cumbersome against you guys. Well, what are we going to do with these files?
Right.
I'm slowly, everything that I've done for the last year, I'm throwing it on the computer. But we still have 3 file cabinets of files that, that's kind of the reason why when this guy stepped up and said he wanted to volunteer, I was like, yeah.
And probably 60% of that is not probably accurate.
Oh, well,
The paper, I mean.
well, I think, I found that they're pretty accurate.
Are they?
But then we gotta decide, do we need to still keeping Dick Barnes's,
Yeah.
applications, even Dennis Rotenberg. So that's why when this guy said he'd volunteer, he wanted to know what he was gonna do for me. I said, well, See these 3 file cabinets? If we eventually stay together here, we're gonna get rid of these file cabinets and get this at least updated to where the last 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes you get somebody that will call about a septic system that's 20 years old. Well, then you're pretty much in a failure state anyhow. I think we still need to keep those files. But yeah, I mean.
Well, so yeah, if you want to draw something up and like you say, something that indicates if the board's okay with that, by mutual agreement of both parties, they can terminate the agreement, whatever. And I would like to get something, if possible, on the agenda for first of the year.
Yeah, I can get the draft sent out right away. My concern, and to make it clear, was, I was involved in terminating a person that was the head of social welfare for the board years ago. Is if the person wants to stay and the county doesn't want it to stay.
Right.
And so I want to make it, what I'll do is draft it so that the board has as much discretion as possible.
Okay, so we'll just table this for the time being pending. Would you let Abby and them know when you can put it back on the agenda?
Yes, I'll get right in touch. Thanks.
Okay.
And Ed, as soon as you could, I guess as soon as you notify these guys of the draft, could I get a look at it also?
Certainly, but it's their draft. I'm representing them, not yourself.
Okay,
So,
sure,
okay.
sure. I guess so. Then I'll have the time to have.
Certainly, you can then look at it. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Dave.
All right.
Thank you.
Discuss and consider ISAC support for Amica for Cowser. I guess it's Cowser versus Shelby County. This came from ISAC. I put it in your packet. They're wanting $500 to help fund this legal arm wrestling contest that they're having. Says they're seeking appellate review of an 8th Circuit panel's decision that invalidated their zoning ordinances regulating a hazardous liquid pipeline, arguing that their local laws are preempted by the Federal Pipeline Safety Act. I'll just open this up and let you guys kick that can around. I mean, we're not gonna live or die over the $500, but I think the bigger question is whether or not and I don't think we need to assume that, I don't know, let me look here. Being filed on behalf of the ISAC membership. So evidently, ISAC General Counsel, Beth Manley is involved in this somehow or another. It says, we recommend you talk to your county attorney. And I don't know, did I get you a copy of this?
Had not seen that before, but I've been familiar with the other counties that have been fighting that, and it was probably a losing battle. The law is pretty clear. And
Well,
if anything that goes to safety, the federal pipeline government entity has preeminence in that. And I don't know, I think they're kind of whistling through the graveyard.
Well, and in our particular instance, we don't have zoning.
Um,
So I don't know that
They had used zoning to try to limit the pipeline, because the pipeline is very, very unpopular. People don't want it going through there.
Right.
And that, I think that's where a lot of genesis came, and in my analysis of it. Then without expressing an opinion one way or the other, the courts have held in Iowa, and the federal courts and the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, highest court under, has said, federal preeminence governs it.
Trump's zoning laws, which.
It's not Trump, but
Well,
it's, you have no right to change the law on mud flaps.
Right.
And, you know, you can pass a law that, and the federal government can say, no, that's a federal Department of Transportation. The federal government jumps in and governs an area, then it preempts the states under the Constitution.
I remember years and years and years and years ago, it's kind of the same thing, but not. The state of Iowa passed a law that said you don't have to wear helmets on motorcycles.
You know,
But a city passed an ordinance that said when you're going through our city, you have to have a helmet on. And that was deemed not to be, that they couldn't enforce that.
there's a hierarchy that
Yeah. Anyway, so what is the board's desire?
Well, it could be us involved in this just the same as somebody else, and
That's true, but the question is, just to keep in mind, the question that is being adjudicated is whether or not zoning laws supersede federal law.
If this was us, would they give us the $500?
Probably not,
So
but
what are we doing?
I'm,
I realize Christmas is close, but I don't want to do it.
like Ed said, federal law is gonna,
honestly, here's my take. If ISAC is involved in it, then ISAC should be involved in it. And these counties pay an enormous amount of money to be members of ISAC. They've got a boatload of money, let them argue it.
Which is why Susie said, no.
Yeah. They have attorneys and it seems. I've said my piece. I'm not a big fan of ISAC, in case you're wondering.
so are you putting that in a form of a motion?
I motion we don't do this. We've given away enough money.
Can we make a negative motion?
Have before.
Yeah, I would say, well, why not?
Okay. Then I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign, thank you. Committee reports.
We didn't meet last week, but a couple of weeks ago, the fall drive-by on the 16-mile loop around the city was well attended.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of neat to do that and actually see the other side of the trail.
I remember one time
Till you get to Walton.
years ago, Dennis Lewiston drove us through the trail.
Yeah, yeah.
People on bicycles coming the other direction were not particularly enamored with us being on the trail, but hey, he was driving, so.
Yeah. I just think it's a neat thing. I'm done.
Oh, you're done. Oh, my gosh, how far back do we have to go
A
here?
couple weeks.
27th, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, on Tuesday, the 28th of October, I attended a field day out at Pete Pollinare's farm. And he was nominated as Woodland Owner of the Year for Iowa, which is a very big honor for him. And there was probably 130 people there, and they had programs all day. It's very interesting.
Was that an event?
Yeah. Yep. Look here. Attended Traction Thursday on the 30th. I'm slow, so whatever.
So is molasses.
Especially when it's cold.
Yeah.
This career day that talked about, Susie, you told me you was going to attend. Did you attend that?
No, but I went to my doctor instead.
Oh,
Hope that
okay,
was
I'm
okay.
sorry. Then we'll have to have Lee report on it. So I thought I had something else, but I don't see it. So I guess that's all I did.
I can talk about career day if you want me to. I should do that. The last time we had the whole gymnasium, 30 employers or people that, and the kids came out and went around. It was very interesting.
It was the same basic form.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing I like best is you had trouble with your computers. If you want to do a demonstration, those kids could fix your computer.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
had no problem doing it. They're very nice kids.
we had celebrities there this year.
Really?
Yes, yes. Who's media?
Me.
Oh,
Well, you were with Margie, weren't you?
so I did miss something. On the 28th of October, we had Grow Fairfield Vita's annual meeting over here, and Joe Stever stepped down and Elisa Ward stepped up as president. Then they had a short business meeting. Wasn't attended by very many, but it was something that had to be done. So that wraps it up for me.
So, as was indicated, I did go to the career fair. It was from 9 to 12. Lots of business. National Guard was there, local police department, radio station, Agra Plastics was there. I didn't have an opportunity much to walk around. The hospital was there. Our ambulance crew was there.
Nice.
And I got to talk to a lot of young people. Most of them going, and what is it you do? So, you know, and it was really a very interesting conversation because depending upon who I was talking to, the answers were kind of varied in terms of the questions they asked. So I enjoyed it. I had some business cards, and the first group that came over, they want to know if they could take business cards, which they did, which I'm going, I don't have a lot of business cards left. So I called my daughter and I said, hey, are you working? She goes, no. I said, can you go to the house and bring my box of business cards? So that I had business cards to hand out because they had like a bingo card, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Yeah,
And depending upon what they were asking, they would have you initial something.
yes.
So some of them would take business cards, which was fine. I just wanted to make sure I had some. And then Friday at 8 a.m., I had the pleasure of talking to, on the radio with Ellis Cujo at KBIZ Radio, well, a Tumble Radio Group. And we spent an hour together, and we had a couple of breaks in there for commercials and whatnot. And during one of the breaks, phone call came in. A gentleman, and the only reason I know that is because he kept saying, yes, sir, asked about Apex. So we had a discussion about our ordinance and how it came to pass and what the requirements were and that sort of thing. So we talked about a wide variety of issues. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. So we scheduled December 18th at 8 a.m., which is a Thursday. You're all welcome to attend or
What time on the 18th?
8 a.m.
I'll be in Iowa City.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
What was best, what did the kids ask you that struck you the most?
There were just, what do you do? That was, it was kind of a generic.
Well, what did
question.
you say? We've always wondered.
Well, I told them it depended on what day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No, we talked about roads, and bridges,
Sure.
and that when they were asking the question, they were asking it in the context of what a county supervisor
Yeah, yeah.
do. And I pointed to the fact that we had the ambulance service and
Nice.
that we oversaw the jail and appropriated money to all of those budgets of all the elected officials and how that process worked.
Yeah.
Depending on how much time they wanted to spend
Yeah.
with you. Some of them would stand there for 10, 15 minutes
Mhm.
and others would just, can you sign this
Yeah,
and move
yeah.
on? So But I mean, it was, I enjoyed it.
It's fun to do that.
And then Mindy
Yeah.
comes up, I had a stern conversation with one Mr. Joe Ledger.
Uh-huh.
Because I was under the impression that one Mr. Joe Ledger was going to attend, and when I walked in, there was one chair. And I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking this is not going to end well. And it didn't, because Mindy came over and said, hey, I have one date left for Santa Claus.
Oh.
And so,
You're saying.
Can you tell me what
December
date that is, so I'll make sure we
December 6th.
don't go on that day?
yeah, well, I'm not going either, but I told her. No, it's December 6th. So
Well, that'll be the next cold spell we get.
probably so, yes. I remember the last time I did it was quite interesting, although we had a bunch of little worker elves, which was kind of nice that the way they handled it. They got the kids in and out and whatnot, so. And it was reasonably warm that particular night, but anyway,
They have a wood burner for you in there.
yeah. So like I said, I really enjoyed conversation. And I mean, we discussed a wide variety of subjects and
Well, I apologize. I didn't realize what it was and I.
oh
didn't
yeah,
ask
you just didn't want to
questions.
do the Santa Claus. Don't.
Don't apologize.
Anyway, like I said, I would like for us to think about maybe getting into a rotation and visiting with Ellis on a regular basis. So, okay, public comments.
I have one.
You do.
So, back to the ambulance. When are we ever gonna go after that money?
Well. the
Because I
attorneys
don't,
have had
I
it.
don't think we need to let that lie.
Right.
Just let somebody get away with not paying.
I know that we've sent letters out to the individual in question.
Mhm.
I don't know what response, if any, has ever been received.
Mhm.
It's a matter of about $10,000 that we provided for equipment
For the lock equipment, is that what you're talking about?
for the what?
Is this, which equip, I'm not,
For the-
sorry.
Yeah, the, what do you call it?
Number pads.
Yeah, the security entrances and stuff.
Yeah, I started to look at that and I looked
Okay.
at what Mike had done. I don't think Mike ever got any response at all.
Right,
The original thing was done in the name of a trade name.
right.
And I'm
Okay.
not sure as to the liability of whose liability for the trade name. I'm gonna look this morning.
Well, it
at
was,
Thank
the
you.
county
I think-
recorder's office.
the auditor's office would have the, and I think Darcy would have the information as far as that part goes. I could tell you afterwards who the company was. And then we hired another company to come in,
Yes,
and what we asked for was the money that we had to spend.
yeah. Was it the year you
Above
bought?
and
it?
beyond. In other words, we had to purchase other equipment because the equipment hadn't been purchased. And I believe the difference was about $6,500, I think,
Yeah.
was what we weren't asking for the whole enchilada, just those funds that we had to expend to complete the project. So,
I will check with the auditor and with the recorder as far as the trade name that the deal was done, like, and see who else is liable.
oh. Okay,
The other thing I will say is, I don't know if you guys ate at the McElhaney house or had them deliver food. It was good. It was all very good.
I
It's
did
a way
not-
for us to help the McElhaney house out.
speaking of which, I have a foundation board meeting tomorrow,
Mhm.
actually.
Tell them the food was really good.
Okay.
You didn't cook any of it, did you? Just wanted-
No, I didn't. I actually was not
Wanted to
able to
ask.
participate this year. I did deliver last year. They kept me away from that. Well, not entirely away from the food. I absconded with some apple pies.
Oh.
Taste tester.
The food was very good, very warm.
That's where you had your training, wasn't
Mhm.
it? Yeah. How did that go?
Well,
Any other comments?
Better quit.
I would entertain a motion to allow claims and approve reports in the amount of $120,148.74.
Second. You made the motion, right?
Yeah, okay,
And I seconded it.
all right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion to adjourn to vote.
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, don't say it.